In the burning heat of northern Cameroon, where the Benue River twists through the red dust, something stirs. It is not an army rising or gunfire cracking through the air. It is quieter than that. An idea carried in whispers and in the promise of an oath. Paul Biya, now 92 years old, a shadow from another century, still wants to cling to power. His victory in the October 12 election has not been greeted with cheers of hope, but with disbelief. The Constitutional Council, loyal as ever, handed him 53.66% of the vote, despite the widespread reports of rigged polls, fake stations, ballot stuffing, and vanished ballots. Issa Tchiroma Bakari, once Paul Biya's ally, and now his loudest nemesis, according to the Constitutional Council, officially won only 35.1% of the vote. That is what it reported. Nationwide, Cameroonians disagree. On the street, they believe Issa Tchiroma won by a landslide. Their belief is supported by unadulterated results captured polling station by polling station across the country. Those results show that Issa Tchiroma won by a wide margin, 54.8%, with Biya far behind with only 31.3% of the vote cast. And yet, Biya stays. He survives, not because Cameroonians love him, but because fear and habit keep his system alive. The wolf, for its part, is staggering. No congratulations from Washington or Paris. None of the usual diplomatic smiles from London or Brussels. Even the African Union's message of national dialogue sounds forced, almost embarrassed. Everyone sees exactly what this is about. A 92-year-old ruler clinging to a chair that long ago stopped belonging to him. Right now, as I speak, the moment belongs to Issa Tchiroma. He doesn't need soldiers. He needs audacity. That means taking the oath of office himself, declaring that he is president. Would not be rebellion. It would be an awakening. Should Issa Tchiroma choose to wait, to hold on, Biya's false victory will harden into something permanent. But if Issa Tchiroma acts and acts now, if he stands before the people in Garoua and swears to lead, then the Biya's illusion breaks. The world will have to pay attention. They will have to listen to him. Legitimacy in this matter should not come from corrupt judges. It's earned. And when a leader dares to embody the will of the people, Biya's claim to power is a piece of paper. France, his longtime backer, has said nothing. The US mumbles only about irregularities. The European Union says the vote was flawed. The vote was flawed. Britain looks away while police beat protesters chanting and proclaiming Issa Tchiroma their president. This silence says everything, everything. It is not indifference. It is quiet rejection of Paul Biya. The words they wrought. 4 decades of repression, disappearing journalists, neglected youth, and promises turned to dust. If Issa Tchiroma swears himself in, he doesn't just challenge Biya. He creates something new, a Cameroon that breathes again, a version of the country that exists not in speeches, but in the faces of market women in Marwa, farmers in Ngaoundéré, and families in Garoua who have had enough. Yaoundé, with all its fear and ceremony, would have to face a rival power that is real, not rhetorical. The plan is clear. Garoua, Issa Tchiroma's home, is a perfect place. It's proud, northern, and already disillusioned with Paul Biya's rule. What Issa Tchiroma should do is find a local judge, one untainted by Yaoundé's control, and take the oath of office publicly. Let it happen in the open. Chiefs, imams, opposition leaders, journalists, even the diaspora watching online. Let the cameras catch the hand on the Quran. The gavel strike, the crowds row. It is theater, yes, but theater that makes a point the whole world can't ignore. Days after taking the oath, he could announce his government, a government made up of experts from abroad, trusted reformers at home, people whose names stand for competence rather than corruption. Then appoint transitional governors for Ngaoundéré, Garoua, and Marwa, the northern regions where Paul Biya's influence is weakest. These governors could begin working right away, even virtually. They did release statements, coordinate with 8 groups, organize local protection forces, and build a sense of functioning authority independent of Yaoundé. Issa Tchiroma wouldn't need to sit in the capital in Yaoundé. He could speak from anywhere, through podcasts, videos, or broadcasts reaching every corner of the country. And this isn't fantasy. It is smart politics. The moment Issa Tchiroma began to act like the real president, Paul Biya's claim begins to wither. Slowly, people and institutions would shift loyalty. 8 organizations would talk to Issa Tchiroma's team. The army, especially those from the north, would hesitate to attack someone their own families respect. Bureaucrats would start to worry, unsure which side will outlast the other. And then, the real movement begins. Because the world doesn't like chaos. 2 presidents in one country. That kind of tension forces action. Diplomats would rush in, not out of kindness, but of necessity. There will be urgent meetings in Addis Ababa, discreet phone calls from Paris, quiet proposals of safe retirement for Paul Biya, exile, amnesty, villas on the Riviera, whatever it takes to ease him out. The pitch would be simple. Step aside, keep your loot, your life, and your dignity, and let Cameroon move on. Issa Tchiroma would promise peace, not revenge, and that would make him the only acceptable solution. That is why Issa Tchiroma must act now, not later, not after some negotiations. He must act now. The oath is not just ceremony. It is the transfer of moral power. It is the line that separates the pretender from the rightful heir. And history backed this with truth, unshakable clarity, 2010, Cote d'Ivoire's leader, Laurent Gbagbo, tried to defy the will of the people. He controlled the army, the courts, and the media. And still, Laurent Gbagbo fell. Why? Because Alassane Ouattara, the winner, went ahead and took the oath of office. He did not wait for Gbagbo's permission. He stood before his supporters in an Abidjan hotel, ladies and gentlemen, Abidjan hotel, and swore to defend the people's mandate. That single act, quiet, legal, but audacious, split Gbagbo's illusion of power. Within months, international recognition and internal momentum swung behind Ouattara, and Gbagbo was pulled from his bunker and sent on exile. How about the Gambia? The Gambia told the same story in 2016. Yahya Jammeh, the self-styled strongman who once declared he would rule the Gambia for 1 billion years, refused to concede defeat after losing to Adama Barrow, that is 2016. But Adama Barrow, instead of pleading or begging, he acted. He took the oath of office not in Banjul, but in exile, in Dakar, Senegal. That symbolic gesture electrified his people, rallied the world, and gave ECOWAS the moral clarity to intervene. Within days, Yahya Jammeh was on a plane into exile, and the Gambia was free. Even Madagascar's 2009 crisis affirms the same lesson. When 34-year-old Andry Rajoelina stood before a crowd and took a symbolic oath of office amid a nation's fury, the old regime's grip began to melt. The world adjusted to the new reality because the symbolism of that act was more powerful than the guns that opposed it. He had taken the mantle of authority, and the people followed. Each of these moments, ladies and gentlemen, reveals a truth that dictators never learn until it is too late. Once someone else takes the oath, the spell of absolute power is broken. The aura of invincibility vanishes, it disappears. Ministers begin to hesitate. Soldiers begin to doubt. The palace starts to tremble. Legitimacy, that invincible currency of rule, begins to migrate. And no regime, however powerful and brutal, can halt that movement. The oath is not rebellion. It is the restoration of moral order. It is the people's silent thunder against tyranny. Mr. Biya's case is even weaker at his age. His body and mind are betraying him. His ministers stay out of fear, not loyalty, and when they sense danger, change, they will run. The regime will crumble, not with explosions, but in silence. Funds frozen, governors defecting, soldiers refusing to fight. And from that collapse could rise something better. Tchiroma's Cameroon, fairer and federal according to his words, one where all voices finally matter. But this window won't stay open forever. If Issa Tchiroma delays, Biya's system will dig in again. Protests will die out and despair will return. Yet, if he acts now, if he takes the oath in Garawa, before the people who have waited for decades, he turns faith into fact. His words could reshape the nation's future. The world would follow his lead because it would have no other choice. And Paul Biya, he would live quietly, carried away by age, and the weight of history. His allies would scatter, their fortunes hidden abroad, their slogans forgotten. Cameroon would wake up, not to vengeance, but to momentum. A new generation would step forward, including those the old system ignored, the young, the poor, and the forgotten. This isn't wishful thinking, ladies and gentlemen. It is a test of nerve. Mr. Tchiroma, once an engineer of Bia's roads, now stands where two paths meet. One leads back into fear, the other towards a reborn country. Now he knows what he has to do. Take the oath, claim the mandate, let the world see what courage looks like when power refuses to let go. In time, Cameroon won't remember the man who refused to leave. They won't remember the man who refused to leave. It will remember, however, the one who made him leave and who dared to begin again.